Welcome to today's class. I decided to just have a look at Fight Club and analyse some of the grammar. I haven't prepared any of this, so I'm just going to do this off the cuff. Yeah, it means without preparation. And I wanted to show you that Fight Club is similar to the other great books that we've been looking at, in that he uses a lot of rhetorical devices, and there are some really interesting things that he does with the language. So let's have a look at some of those. So first thing you ought to notice about Fight Club, or I think it really stands out, is how many times he mentions Tyler. Right from the beginning, we get Tyler gets me a job as a waiter. After that, Tyler's pushing a gun in my mouth. And then we get Tyler and I. Now that's a phrase he uses a lot in this book. He very often puts Tyler and I together as the subject. So Tyler and I were best friends. And people are always asking, did I know about Tyler Durden? So clearly Tyler is the main protagonist in this story. He's mentioned him 4 times in the very first short paragraph, and he goes on to say Tyler says, and you get Tyler says down here, and you get Tyler here. You get an awful lot of Tyler throughout the whole story, and the same on the next page that we'll have a quick look at in a moment. So that's the first thing to notice. Let's have a look at some of the sentence structure now. Oh, and there's another Tyler says. But perhaps one other thing I'll mention is that right off the bat, straight from the beginning, we get the first step to eternal life is you have to die. So some kind of paradox there right from the beginning, in the very first sentence. The first step to eternal life is you have to die. And then we get, we really won't die. Now, notice that Tyler very often says, we really won't die. And it does leave the reader thinking, why we? And so we're going to find out. Perhaps they're both in a deadly situation. And for those of you who have already seen this film, you'll obviously already know the answer to this question. So a lot of die is straight away repeated. The word die is repeated twice. And just like the other 2 books, we get a lot of repetition. A lot of words are repeated, and it's not just Tyler that is very often repeated. There are other words which are repeated. So let's have a look at this next paragraph here. So we've got with my tongue, which is repeated in a second. We get tongue again. Lost that for the moment, but let's carry on. With my tongue I can feel the silencer holes that we drilled into the barrel of the gun. Most of the noise a gun makes is expanding gases, and there's a tiny sonic boom a bullet makes because it travels so fast. To make a silencer, now this is the second time we've said silencer. Yes, silencer holes. Now we're talking about silencer. You need to drill holes in the barrel of a gun mentioned for the first time, and that's a lot of holes. Yeah, so we get holes mentioned for the second or third time already. This lets the gas escape and slows the bullet to below the speed of sound. So I think the gas escaping has already been mentioned. Expanding gases, sorry, not escaping gases, but it's expanding gases. And that slows the bullet. Okay, well, we've definitely already had the bullet there as well. You drill the holes, wrong. Well, we've already had drill holes here, and we've had holes several times. You drill the holes wrong, and the gun, again the gun, will blow off in your hand. This isn't really death. So again, we get death mentioned after die and die. So I hope that can show you that here the author is certainly using repetition, and a lot of repetition in that one of the early paragraphs. And here